Here we go. Live. Press the live button. Hey, there's Discord. Good. Right, Craig, don't fail me now, Craig. Just don't.
We believe in you.
Yeah. Pretend you're on our side for once. Just don't do anything stupid. Questions? Again, I've got this stupid super duper widescreen, which I absolutely hate. Oh.
I never used a widescreen actually.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what this is, like a 20. I don't know what size this is. 27-inch ultra wide. It's horrendous. I hate it. And I'm down to one screen at the minute because I keep giving my other ones away to help people, and now I've only got one screen.
But a giant one.
But a giant one, but unusable. As you see, when I was trying to set the game settings up, it just goes mental.
Yeah.
Even now on the stream, I've got two big black bars because of the ratio. It's like, oh, God.
It's very difficult to work on there.
It is.
Several ratio screens, so a lot of application like my game currently is only already usable with one size ratio, which is always 16:9. So.
Yeah, and that's how most stuff is. So anything you want to do is just hard work. You end up having to like split the screen into two just to use it. I'm like, what's the point? I might as well just get a second screen.
Yeah. So we should have tool to make usable interface apply to several screen more easier, because right now you keep doing most of the thing yourself. So like you have to check every size screen ratio and make sure your UI is working on all of them and stuff like that. So,
yeah, it's like developing for mobile as well, isn't it? With every single Android device.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, iPhone did something really clever at the beginning. It was every iteration of their screen had double the size of pixel, double the count of pixels.
Oh, okay.
But the ratio was still the same, so it was like usable immediately. But after they start to change their ratio and go bigger and like larger and stuff like that, and so now it's and Android is like all over the place.
Yeah, they've got a bit carried away now, haven't they?
Oh my god, yeah.
Right now, okay, so so we are live. We are live on Twitch and YouTube. Again, I'm not sure how many people watch the live interviews as such, but sometimes they do. And the main thing is it'll stay on YouTube forever, so it'll be there for people to watch.
Okay.
And they get all this rambling stuff at the start if you watch the the video. It's all nicely edited out in the podcast.
Yeah.
Right, I'm teed up. I'm all ready. I'm checking on Craig. He's still there. Good. And we're ready to go. So, if you're all ready, let's make a start.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Here we go. Welcome to the Indiegameiacs podcast, and let's jump on to number one question straight away. I'm straight in. I like to jump straight in. So tell us who you are and what your game is called.
Okay, so my name is Marius Ibanez, and I'm the nearly solo dev behind the game called Guild of Ascension.
Guild of Ascension. Now, so I played this game last night. If you didn't watch the live stream last night, one, what were you doing? That was a bad choice. And two,
it was a great stream.
It was a great stream, and I don't want to say I was surprised, but I was surprised because this game, this is like early alpha at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not ready for human consumption really yet, as it were. But it was fantastic. I had a great time streaming this. This was a great stream. I really enjoyed myself.
Thank you. The game is still in pre-alpha stage, mainly because of the content. We need to add a lot more and more content than what we have currently. But I try to polish the onboarding of the game. So yeah.
Okay, so I know this is going to be a hard question, and this isn't actually on my list of questions, so I'm already diverting off. Mm-hmm. How would you describe this game to someone? So obviously now that the audience are listening to this, unless you're watching it live on YouTube now, how would you describe this? Because it's quite unique.
Yeah. So the game, it's a roguelite that the combat is a mix of tactical turn-based and action RPG kind of. thing. So basically, you are playing a group of 2 characters that are playing in a turn-based game, but your turn are a short burst of real-time action game. So with combo, special attack, skills, and so on.
Yeah, and that's what surprised me because again, for us simpletons, I say us, me, for me as a simpleton, I was describing this as like it's like a digital action 3D chess with it's really hard to explain because which is great because it's so unique, but it's got so many familiar features from games that you would expect.
Yeah.
So
when I try to describe the game to someone that is not really familiar to game genre, for example, I'm using as a real life example of chess, but the Blitz game mode, which is the chess version that you play with the clock, and that you have to play very quickly and then click on the button so your opponent have a limited time to play. So it's like it's a turn-based game, but it's always in real time, and you are always pressured by the time. So you have to be quick in your decision making.
Yeah, that was killing me. At first, I was the timer was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
But it makes you focus, and I see why you've done it now because otherwise you just if you give people too much time to think, then. Not that it makes it easy, but I think it gives them too many options because there is lots of stuff you can do, which is awesome. But you kind of, you're kind of training them to sort of think quickly, and you want them to kind of make mistakes, don't you? Because that's what.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what That's why you lose your health, and you choose the wrong power, and then the next time you start thinking quicker.
That's exactly like what I like in that game, and often I get questions from people that are only playing turn-based game and that's really like strategy. They say like, but I cannot make the best decision. And my answer to that is like, often it's a lot more fun to make the wrong decision and see what's happened and see everything that you didn't anticipate and see how it's playing in front of you. And so that's also a part of the fun of the game. So yes, you will make mistake, but it's fine. You will learn. So.
Yeah, because you've actually got a really. So I'm going way off the questions here, but you've got a really good mechanic where you can actually see the order of attack that your enemies are going to do it. So if you've got 4 enemies, you can actually see which order they will attack you in. So if you do make a mistake, then you start realizing, damn, if I'd have just checked the order first or what next power he may use. That would have That would have really helped me, and it forces you to learn.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, one of the other things that people really don't think about at first is friendly fire. So the fact that you have to make sure that your friend is not in the area where you will do your attacks, or that will be triggered by a bomb or something like that. So at first it's surprise, but then you kind of integrate that into your thinking and it becomes natural. So,
yeah, it's like in chess if the knight suddenly trampled on your pawn and you're like, oh Christ.
That's actually a great idea for a game like chess with friendly fire.
Friendly fire.
That would be actually great.
That caught me out, the friendly fire. But there was also, but don't panic, you can get like buffs and extras to turn the friendly fire off as well, can't you?
Yeah, and actually one of the things that I like the most in the game is the fact that at first friendly fire it's an inconvenience, so you have to make sure not to attack your friend. Then when you get some buff, you can turn it off, so it becomes something that you don't even think about because you know you will not get damaged by friendly fire. But then it can become also a powerful tool because if you get the riposte ability, for example, your character will counterattack every time he receives damage, and that could be triggered by your friend that is attacking him, but is not making damage because of the no friendly fire. So now you can use one of your character to trigger the other to attack for free.
Oh, I love that. I didn't even think about
that. Yeah. So there is a lot of depth in the friendly fire mechanic. So it becomes from something bad to something neutral to something good.
And that's really cool. And also, what is great is that the enemies have friendly fire as well. So they were beating each other up as well, which was very handy a couple of times for me last night.
Yeah, actually, one thing I'm trying to do is try to not have any special rules for you or for the enemies. So everybody are playing with the same set of rules. So
Right.
they are attacking a certain zone, they are making that amount of damage, and everybody in that zone take damage, and so on and so on. So it's like if you have friendly fire, they have friendly fire. If pushing does that much damage, it will do it to you and to them. Everything is the same for you and your or the enemies.
Right. That's great, because then it doesn't feel like you're being cheated, or oh, come on, that's not
Yeah.
fair. You don't have that.
Yeah,
feeling.
exactly.
And you just get, as you're playing, your characters level up. You unlock new weapons and powers, and there's so much in this game. And like I said, this is still pre-alpha, and there was loads to unlock. And I thought I'd just have a couple of runs. Well, that didn't work, because every time I've done a couple of runs, you unlock something else. And there's loads of replayability, which I love. Very addictive.
Yeah. There's the roguelite element in the game, so the fact that you level up and all the abilities that you get after each fight is reset every time you re-enter the tower, and also the fact that the floor of the tower is randomly generated, that lets you replay the game a lot more than if it wasn't.
Yeah.
But compared to other roguelites, I often insist on the fact that we have permanent progression, in the sense that you will play the game to try to beat the boss to the first floor of the tower. And when you reach and kill the first boss, you will unlock a new floor. And that new floor will be new environment, new enemies, new bosses, everything is new. And you will be able to start from here. So you will not play the game from zero every time. You will feel like you're progressing to the game.
Yeah. And that was when I discovered the boss. I didn't really even realise there was a boss in this game.
Yeah.
And that was mega, because I say it all the time, I love boss battles in games.
Yeah.
Every game should have a boss.
I agree.
And again, I actually can't believe how much you've done on this game, because it really is. It feels like an action game, because you can build up combos to build up your powers. So you can you can run up to someone and press all the buttons. As long as your timer is still running, you can do whatever attacks you want. You can just beat the hell out of someone if you've got the time to do it. But then you've also got to plan your tactical where your character ends after that turn, because you don't want to be standing next to the bear.
Yeah, no, the bear, it's a tough enemy. Yeah, I might have to nerf it a little, because I got a lot of complaints that is too difficult.
Again, like I said, it's an indie dev issue. Don't worry, it's not just you. You're all making it so hard. I think.
But the thing is, like, yeah, I'm playing the game every day, and I'm becoming like really a master of this game. So for me, the bear, it's like nothing, you know. It's still a floor 1 enemy. So I try not to make it too difficult, but once you integrate his pattern and you know how he's behave, all the enemy become really simple. And that's actually something that I really like in that kind of game, is the fact that, yes, you got level up and you got better equipment, but I could finish the first floor without taking damage with the first equipment of the game. So when I integrate how all the mechanic of the game and the knowledge of the enemies and the pattern and all of that, I become stronger, not because of the number of my level of the new shiny weapon I got. I become stronger because I integrate all of that, and my skill as a gamer become greater.
And that's another thing that I really like. It's because this isn't particularly aimed at anyone, because even though people who like puzzle games, you will like this. People who like action games will like this. It's kind of it's for everybody. This game is for everybody. If you're a gamer and you like playing games, which I assume you do because you're listening to a gaming podcast right now, you will like this game because it's got some area that you will be familiar with.
Yeah, really, for me, the target that I have when I was making the game is really, I'm playing 2 different genres of games that I really love. There's a turn-based tactics that I need to think and so on, and there is the action real-time game like Monster Hunter, of those kind of game where it's really more about the skill and more about the moment-to-moment gameplay. And those 2 genres give me very nice reward feeling, but in two different categories, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to change that and to make a game that kind of give me the reward feeling of the both genre. And I also wanted that people that say, I cannot play a turn-based game because it's too slow, to change their mind on that.
Yeah.
And also the people that are playing only turn-based game and say, the action game, it's too fast for me, I cannot think about it. This game, it's also slower than a normal action game, so there is a little more time to think, even if it's not all the time in the world, like in traditional turn-based. So I really try to combine and merge the two different category of gamers into one game.
Which you've done very well.
Thank you.
Because I am one of those tactical people who think, I haven't got time for this. I can't be bothered to try and plan my moves. I just want to attack stuff. Mm-hmm. But if you're just attacking stuff all the time, it does get a bit, repetitive. So, Anyway, so that is the overall. And also, sorry, I'm going to come back to this because not only do you have the enemies to sort of make your way around the board, you even have obstacles on the board.
Oh, yeah.
So you have like grass, which slows you down, which is genius.
Yep.
I hate it, but it's genius.
There is also more stuff that you didn't find out with the grass, but I hope there is deeper mechanics that people will find more they play. But for example, there is a fire status effect in the first floor. But if you put someone in fire as they stand on the grass, it will take more damage and the grass will burn away. So it won't be there.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. And you can also, there's also holes in the board some places, so you can even be knocked off the board and into holes. It's so mean.
So there is a long story with the hole, because one of the games that inspired me for that was Into the Breach, and I really love in this tactics game like the pushing mechanic, and I really want to replicate that on my game. But first, Into the Breach, whenever someone is pushed off, it die immediately. And so when I did that first, it was like too harsh of a punition, because again, as I say, I want the rules for the enemies to be the same than for the player. So if you can push an enemy and you kill him in one hit, then when they push you and you fall, you will die in one hit. So that was like really too harsh a punition. Yeah. So at first, for a long time, what I had was the fact that when you push someone in a hole, it takes a certain amount of damage, but then respawn into the battlefield. And I really like the balancing of that, but people get too confused about why that guy came back. I push him in the hole. He should have been dead. Mm-hmm. He's not dead. That's unfair. So now I change it again, and it's a quite recent change, so I'm still trying that out. But now what I have is like every people has two status in their health bar. So the health bar can be normal or they can be in critical health, which is like under 30% of total health. Yep. And so if you push someone into a hole, if it's above critical health, it will just bounce and take some damage. But if it's under critical health, it will fall into the hole and die immediately. So now you have to think about, if I push him now, I'm going to kill him all the way. Or if I push him now, it will just take bounce damage, but not.
Yeah, and that's important for you as well, to where you leave your character. Don't.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was learning in the end. I was thinking, oh no, stay away from the edges.
Yeah.
But like I say,
stay away from the edges. And that will be more dramatic if you are in critical health, because you can die in one hit. But if you are full health, you will take some damage, but you won't fall. So it's not that bad.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Right. Okay, well, that's enough describing of the game. There's loads we haven't covered, by the way. There's so much in this game, so don't. There's not just it. There's tons. But let's slowly make our way through the questions. So let's start off with the second. We'll start off with the second one. Continue to the second one. And when did you start developing the game?
Yeah, so I start officially developing the game on January 2019. I had a little prototype running before that, but it wasn't really that game. And I was working for another company before that. So when I decided to stop and to go full time on that project, it was on January 2019.
Okay, wow. Okay, so that's pretty good going to get to this stage with the amount of mechanics you've got in this. That is very good going.
Yeah, and actually, early 2020, I did the 1 year development video on my YouTube channel that showcase a quick show of every month prototype at this point, and you can see how the game changes. It's quite a drastic change on the month-to-month basis.
Well, make sure you send a link to that, and I'll link that in the show notes and in the YouTube comments and stuff. I'd like to watch that myself. Sure. That sounds great. And this is built in Unreal.
Yeah.
Oh, and why did you choose Unreal?
So my job before that was a game programmer for a lot of big company for the past 10 years. So I'm used to working with big AAA engine like that. So this one was the most close that what I used to work with when I was in those kind of studio.
Okay, so
and also I really like that engine. It's really performant. I can do a lot of stuff myself. I can do all the programming. So I control everything I wanted, and it's easy to port on all the platforms that I want. So.
Oh, okay, but it is quite. It's one of the more difficult ones to
but
to code
again,
in,
because I was experienced with that with my previous job in the industry, for me it's the main way I like to work. So for me, it wasn't difficult to get.
Oh, excellent. Okay, very good. So number 4. And this question, I think I'm going to have to remove this question because generally it's because you like playing games. So what made you get into development in the first place?
Development, I always knew I wanted to work in games. When I was really young, I didn't know what that means. but after a while, I see the different job in the industry, so like designer, programmer, and artist, and so on. And I integrate a school that was dedicated for making game in France, a school that is called Créageux, and they had courses for like artists and programmer. And so I did the programmer courses, and after that I directly joined the industry. So my path was really set.
You knew early
since
on.
A long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, that question, I should swap that question out with something related to how would you recommend people get started in development or something like that. I should probably swap that out. That'd probably make more sense for people. Really.
Yeah. We say for people interested, it's just like really getting to know the different side of how to make a game. So as I mentioned, like what's the job of a designer, what's the job of a programmer, and what's the job of an artist, for example, to say the 3 main, and then find what's really an interest to you and search for school or academics that can teach you this kind of knowledge. But again, I think that nowadays with internet, there is a lot of resources that you can learn by yourself in front of your computer. So as soon as you know, I'm really interested in that part of development, just follow some courses, look at tutorials online, and you will understand how to make games.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Well, that was a little bonus question for you there. Look at that. So let's move on to how you're developing the game. Yeah. Is it just you, or do you have a team, or how have you planned that? Yeah,
so I describe myself as mainly nearly a solo developer on the game. So that meant I'm the only one working in the studio full time on the project. But around that, I'm working with several people that help me here and there on the project. So some people help me for like 2-3 months on the art side on some aspects. So I had one Elliot that really helped me to define all the 3D environments from within the tower. I had another artist doing the concept art for the character and so on. But I try to stay really small scale production. So it's mainly me, and whenever I hit a wall, I'm coding some friends or freelancers that can help me with specific subject.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. You know, the thing is, like, I suppose some developers are a little bit scared of giving up control of their game for someone else to do something.
Yeah, it's not mainly the fact that I'm afraid. It's also the fact that so far the project is my passion project, and so it's only myself, and I cannot really pay a big team of 10 people working for me, you know. You know what I mean? So and I really don't want to ask people to work for me without getting paid or retribution for that.
Yeah.
So I also try to make sure that everything is in order because of that. If one day the game have more money and because it sells well or so on, I will definitely be happy to integrate more people on the project full time and so on.
Do you ever plan on running it as a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo? Is that in the plans ever?
So I thought about it. Right now, the decision is not made in my mind, so I don't really know. I hear a good thing and bad thing about running that kind of crowdfunding campaign, mainly on the fact that it's really hard to make yourself find, and it's really hard to bring people to the Kickstarter. Yeah. So it's like I hear the things that is like 3 or 4 months of work to do that alone. So I'm like, is it better that I put that time onto the game or onto a Kickstarter?
Yeah.
This is what I don't know exactly.
Because you might spend those couple of months working all the rewards out, pushing people there,
yeah.
And then it may not get funded all the way.
Exactly. So I keep that in the back of my mind, and I'm thinking about it. But for now, I didn't make my mind on that. So.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, you've done amazing work so far without it. It's just, obviously, it just depends, because the more features you add and the more advanced it gets, the more levels you have, it's suddenly going to take longer and longer, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it must be tricky to weigh up, definitely. Okay, so have you had any troubles through the development? Has anything sort of been really hard for you to sort of figure out, or have you got stuck on something for ages?
So I won't say that something was really hard, but there is example of stuff that for a long time I refused to do it, even if people keep telling me about, oh, you should do it that way, you know. And after several months, I gave up and try, and it was like, oh yeah, I should have done that month ago, you know. So there is stuff that I kind of regret to not have done earlier, but it wasn't really hard. It was more the fact of accepting them.
Stubborn.
I mean, it's not really stubbornness, I will say, but it's more the fact that it's really difficult to understand what something will feel before you try it.
Yeah.
So you can be sure that it won't work until you try it, and then you try it, and then yes, it's working, obviously. But
you don't want to waste your time, do you? You don't want to waste your
time.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. You have a limited time to do
yeah.
all the stuff, so you have to select the one you want to do and the one you don't want. So those ones were already always in the backlog, kind of. And when I bring them forward and actually did them, it was like an evidence.
Okay, and is this your first game you've developed on your own? I mean, I know you worked before, but
yes.
Is this your first solo project?
Yes, it's the first game of my company, it's the first game I'm doing on my own. But again, I have a lot of background in the game industry before that, so I wasn't afraid, and I knew what I was going to do. So because I released a lot of game in other company, some were really big in a very large team, and some were really small in a really small team. So I also knew what I was capable of doing or not. So that really helped me with doing my first game.
Okay, so you do have a bit of an advantage over quite a lot of developers, a lot of indie developers, in the fact that you did work for a studio for a while before, and you've seen the process of releasing games. You kind of know what to.
I have some friends that are working next to me that are just doing their first game after school, and they are doing amazing, and they have an amazing game, and people follow them. I'm like, I'm so jealous, you know. It's like, yeah. I when I was that age, and I knew as much as they did, I will never have dreamed about that. So no, I'm a lot more confident about what I can do. So it's also better for me.
What are you doing about how are you finding the marketing of the game? As this seems to be a big problem for a lot of developers. It's the marketing and social media that they all generally really struggle with. How are you finding it?
I will say, like everybody, it's really difficult. So I'm trying everything as I can. So I'm doing a lot of GIFs that I share on Twitter, Facebook, and stuff like that.
Well done.
I try all other platforms like Reddit and Imager, but those are really more specific codes, so it's a lot more difficult to enter those kind of circle. So yeah, I'm doing mainly that for now, but I'm also hoping to work with a publisher for when the game will be released, so I can get some help on marketing on that side later on.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So there you go. So if anyone has got any recommendations for any publishers, send them in. Who knows? It'd be interesting I'm interested to find out what companies and which publishers and which artists. I'd like to sort of have a collection of these people. To share.
It will
around.
Be nice if you invite them in your podcast, actually, so we can learn from that.
That's a very good point, actually, because then they can tell us what they're looking for and what developers should be doing in preparation for it.
Exactly.
Good idea. I'll get on that. Thanks. Give me more work to do. Well done.
Sorry.
Okay, so where's the best place to find out about the game?
So the place where I share more about the game, it's definitely Twitter. So the handle of my Twitter account, it's the name of the company, which is Wild One. But for some reason, I forget to check, and that handle was already taken. So now it's Wild One 2. The weird thing is, like, the one, it's in letter, but the 2 is in number. So it's Wild One in letter with a 2. With a 2 in number.
Yeah, it's easy if I link it.
Yeah, the other place, it's just to follow the page on Steam. So I already have a Steam page up for wishlist and stuff like that, and I also doing a lot of news directly on the page with the Steam API. So once every month, I try to say what's progress in the game and show more image and stuff like that.
Okay, that's good. That's actually interesting because you've got the Steam page up pretty early on, haven't you? Because a lot of people I've spoken to a few developers, and the game is due to be released in a few months, and they still don't have a Steam page.
Yeah, for me, it was really important that I show the game really early, so I can get feedback on what is working and what is not working, and also because I'm the only one working on the game, the feedback from people that see from an external point of view, it's really, really valuable for me, because it's kind of remove me from that focused vision that I have, and open my vision of what the game is. Because usually when you work in a team, everybody has their own view on the game. Yeah. But because I'm by myself, there is only me. So showing the game early was really important for me. And yeah, Steam is definitely a great place to do that, because it forces you to think about the screenshots that you should share, and what makes sense for your game, what's really is your game, because you also have to describe it and so on. So it's a nice place to be really early on, I think.
Definitely. And do you have a Discord or anything?
So I had a Discord, but for now it's a little in the dead zone, in the sense that not a lot of people are talking on it, and it was taking me a long time to feed it as I was feeding other social media and working on the game. So for now, I'm not really gonna share the Discord, but I will make a new one when I will be closer to release and when I will be sharing demos of the game, so I can really speak to people that played the game and want to give me feedback directly.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah, I will do a new one from scratch in a few months' time.
Right, gotcha. Okay, so what else have we got left? Release date, actually. So when have you planned for release? I know you're still very early, so it's hard to say, really.
Yeah, so I plan 2021. For now, I'm thinking February or a little more, depending on how the game is going. So between February and July 2021, we'll say should be released.
Okay,
excellent. On PC.
That was my next question. So is it? Are you planning to only release it on PC, or is it depending on how well it does and you add?
I'm probably sure that I will do console at some point, but I will be releasing first on PC.
Okay,
but it will be port to console.
Okay, because it does feel and look very switchy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I say console, I'm thinking about this one as well, because I'm playing my Switch nearly exclusively all the time. So even if it's just for me, I want the game on the Switch.
Just port your own version. I like it.
Yeah, you know.
Hey, well,
but I'm gonna release on PC first.
Okay, awesome. Now, we skipped one. Now I know we kind of covered this earlier, but is there anything in the game that you spent too much time on? Anything silly? Because the last few episodes we've had water shading and grass.
Oh.
So can you beat water shading or grass? Is there anything more silly that you've got?
Yeah, I will say one thing. I'm not sure how silly it is in the scale, but one thing I spent way too much time on it is the tutorial.
Okay.
Just for the fact that the gameplay of the game changed really often. In the first year, it maybe changed completely every month or two. But every time I wanted to have some feedback on it, so I had to do a new tutorial for people to try, so they can at least understand what was happening at the time, and I could understand if it was good or not. But then I changed everything the next day, and so I had all the tutorials that just didn't make sense anymore.
Oh no!
So I have done it 5-10 times or even more, and it's not done yet because again the gameplay will change slightly from the next version, so I will have to redo it again and again.
Oh my god, it's like a curse. Keeps coming back on you.
Yes, exactly. But well.
But the tutorial was very good, and you definitely need it.
Exactly, yeah. So I have no choice than to do it again and again. So that's fine.
So you're not even past it yet. Oh no. So now, you say about porting it to consoles eventually. Mm-hmm. Does using Unreal make that easier or harder?
Oh yeah. That was one of the reasons that I wanted to go with Unreal, is because you already have all the console support and even mobile if ever I want or something. So yeah, it will definitely help me with that.
Amazing. And do you think, have you tried like Unity or anything? Have you tried any of the others?
Yeah, actually in my past career I used to work with Unity on some game, but I definitely prefer Unreal. Unity, for me, it's really heavy on performance for some reason. So it's really difficult to make a game that runs smoothly on Unity, even more on a really less powerful console like the Switch. So
yes.
Yeah, and also I'm used to the control of everything I'm doing, and Unreal give me more control than Unity. I know it's more difficult for some indie devs that never work on a big engine before that, but because I used to work with AAA engine, it makes more sense for me to go with Unreal.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm just looking at the system requirements now, and your minimum.
Oh, not sure what I write.
I'm just checking.
Okay.
Windows 7, 2 gig of RAM. 2 gig of RAM. Wow.
Yeah.
GTX 750.
I mean, I will have to retry with that exact configuration because but that's probably accurate. The 750 I'm sure because I have one on one of my computer and I work with that. So the RAM probably around that.
Okay. I've got loads of old hardware. I have to try it on some to see where. Where
actually, for me, I'm testing on my laptop, and he had my laptop have a very weird stuff, but that really helped me. Is the fact that he had a dedicated GPU, but that is only activated if the PC is plugged in. So when the PC is not plugged in, it's run on the GPU of the CPU, which is like the Intel graphics something. I don't remember which one exactly. But so I always try the game with and without power, so I can check if my frame rate is still correct. So,
okay, that's cool. And do you need any other help with the game? Is there anything you're looking for? Any sort of artists or developers, or is there anyone that you're missing that you could do with help with, or in the future need help with?
Well, I already have people that I know with who I want to work with for the future, so I'm not looking for any other additional people, let's say it's like that on the game, but I'm still I will still need more help on the game, but the people that will help me already know.
Okay, so for anyone listening, then the biggest help they can give you is by just sharing your content.
Yes, visibility is the biggest problem for every one of us as an indie game. So sharing the game, wishlisting, talking about the game, that's definitely what everybody needs.
Yeah. And have you thought about, I know we spoke about multiplayer options in the future. And so because I would love, I know I'm just adding, if you gave me extra work, I'm giving you extra work. So this would make a fantastic couch co-op on the Switch.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna say for the multiplayer competitive version, that's kind of really out of the question, even because it will be a lot more difficult for as a technological point of view to redo. So it will be like a lot more work, so I cannot do that. And even the way that the balance of the game is structured is like your character are really overpowered compared to the enemies. So it's kind of funny because you can kill 10 or 20 enemies while you take 1 or 2 hits. But if you were playing against other players, the game will last 2 turns because in 2 hits you will be dead. So it won't be fun anyway.
Yeah, it'd almost be a different game, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's changing the game completely. I can see that now.
Yeah. And so as for co-op, I'm not announcing anything, and I don't really know if I'm gonna do it or not. But the only thing which is sure is that I won't include online multiplayer in the game. Yep. But couch co-op, it's still in thinking. Not sure if it's gonna be done or not, but I'm thinking about that.
Because you could even do that with I don't know if you saw, I did a podcast and a stream with a game called Pushy and Pully in Blockland.
Okay.
And that was with Esther, the developer's name was, and she did couch. It was like it's like a Bomberman game. Is the easiest way to describe that. And that had couch co-op, and it was two player, and then she used the Steam. What's the Steam multiplayer thing?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where you can share your game with someone else. So we did a live stream of her playing as the other character and me playing as my character, and that worked really well. So even if that could be in there and just swap the controls to the other person, that'd be amazing to play.
That might be a possibility, but the real thing I really will need to test before making sure that can be done or not is really the idea of working with another person, because in the game, as you are 2 player, there is a very deep tactics that you do with yourself, because your 2 characters are kind of in synergy one with the other. So again, the example I was gonna give you before was attacking one of your character to make trigger his ability of reposting and this kind of thing. So you will need to play very, very heavily with yourself if you want to win the game. So if you do that with another person, I really don't know how the strategy will be in place and if it won't be too difficult to say, because basically one of the player might end up just giving order to the other player because he say, oh, you need to go there and face that direction so I can attack you and do that. And at this point, will it be fun to play with someone else if he's controlling you? That's the thing I'm not sure.
Well, I think if you're playing with someone you know, which you probably will be, I mean, I don't mean about playing with random people, but if you play with someone you know, like if you and I went to play, I think the chaos that it could cause, that's what I look forward to. I look forward to the Discord arguments. You know, no, don't shoot him. Too late, I've done it.
I agree. Kind of the Overcooked vibe where you should really play with together, but you end up just being angry at each other all the time. Maybe, but I'm gonna have to try that before I'm saying if I'm doing it or not. So
it'd make a great stream. I know that. I'd love to stream a 2-player of that. That'd be hilarious.
It's not on the planning now, but it's not out of the table.
It's not. You heard it. Some people, everybody vote. Come on, send it in. Cool. Okay. And what about future games? Do you plan on making an extra game for this, like a Guild of Assassin, Guild of Ascension 2, or something else, or what's the plan?
Yeah, so it will really depends what the reaction of the game when it will be released and so on. I have a lot of idea just for adding more content onto that game, adding more DLC. So how I structure the game is that the tower is kind of infinite and there will be several floors at release, but I can always adding more floor on top of that and adding more character and type of weapon. So there is a lot of things I can already do within that game. But other than that, I have tons of ideas for other games, but I'm going to keep them for way later when everything will be done on Guild of Ascension.
Yeah, don't start anything now, because
exactly,
as soon as you start.
Yeah,
okay. So is there anything that we haven't spoken about that you'd like to go into more detail on, about the game or yourself or anything else?
No, I think we did a good overall of what the game is. I'm happy with that.
Okay. Well, I'd love to do a follow-up on this when you get to maybe start getting to sort of the beta or pre-release stage. It'd be great to catch up and see what's changed since we've spoken, at this such an early stage. I would like to.
There will be a lot more. So sure, we will do a follow-up.
And I also want to speak just briefly about. So some of the are you calling them levels or boards? What are you calling the? So
you are talking about one encounter?
Yes. Yeah. Encounter.
So I'm saying one room because it's one room of the tower floor.
One room. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. So some of the rooms have got the statue.
Yeah.
That was very mean.
The statue actually do nothing. They actually inanimate decoration of the
No, because the statues, I'm going to call it. I'm blaming the statue here. So the statue, if you take too long to complete the room, the statue gets moody.
No, okay. So you're talking about the goddess curse here.
The goddess curse. Yes, that's
the goddess curse is not linked to any statue. It's really a mechanic that I add to time limit player into one room.
Yes.
Because I was afraid at first that if they had no time limit, they're gonna just run in circle, and like the enemy will do that, and forever that goes.
Yes.
And nobody will win at the end. But after seeing more and more people playing the game, I actually never see a time where that time limit was used in the sense that I liked it to be. So in the sense that every time I see people getting surprised by that and really they were trying to win the room, but they couldn't because of that, and they weren't trying to cheese the room,
Yeah.
So I'm starting to think I might not include it at the end because it might be too mean.
It was very mean, but
Yeah.
but do you know what?
Okay.
It's difficult because I do like it. I do like the
Yeah.
idea. I think you're right.
Yeah.
And because you've got the timer on each move that you take.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it does kind of make sense that the room has a general timer.
I'm actually trying to think about maybe turning it in a bonus instead of a malus. So basically, if you finish the room within a certain time, you will get more reward. So I'm gonna encourage you to be quick, but in a good way, not by punishing you.
So it's going to be the carrot, not the stick.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because every time I see people die because of that, I feel sad inside. So
I know you don't. You were laughing at me yesterday when I dropped dead. I know it. I know it.
maybe.
Yeah. What about high scores? Because this game does encourage you to keep replaying the game, and that's the idea of, isn't it? You replay it.
Yeah.
You get better.
So I didn't really think about doing high score even more because, again, the game really have a progressive structure in the fact that when you finish the floor 1 and you kill the boss, you will unlock a new floor. And so there will not really be any reason to go back to floor 1. And if you go back to floor 1 with the new weapon that you craft into better floors, then you will be
everything. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I'm not thinking that to include high score or something like that, but what I'm including it's a kind of achievement system per floor. Okay. So every floor you will redo it, and I'm keeping track of how many times you try, how many room you fail, how many enemies you killed, and stuff like that. And I'm gonna give you some reward if you are doing all the achievement of that floor. So finding all the different room, killing all the enemies and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a nice idea. Because it's weird, isn't it? Because as someone who isn't a developer, I don't think about stuff like this. I just think, well, I need a high score, but then not realizing actually it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because then the number will just you will come back at the end of game, and you will come back in floor 1, and you will just stomp everybody with one hit, and the score will have no meaning. So
yeah,
I mean, I could include it, but it won't add anything to the game. I think
it makes total sense now.
Yeah.
Ignore me. Basically, ignore me is what you're saying.
No, all our ideas are good because often it's just by thinking about something that doesn't work that give you idea for some other things that might work if you change it. So
yeah, but that's also the slight problem as an indie dev that you kind of need just someone to discuss these good or bad ideas through, and then once you've discussed it, you go, oh yeah, that makes total no sense whatsoever. Now I can ignore that now. But if you're just arguing with yourself, you can convince yourself either way that it's a great idea or it's a terrible idea. So
that's why I really like to share as much as I can on Twitter or everywhere, so I can have a discussion about all the feature and making people try the game like you. That also helped me to see how they see the game when it's not me playing by myself. So.
Yeah, of course. And when do you think the first beta testing will happen? When can people start playing little versions of this?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. I cannot give any date right now. So
of course, that's fine.
So I'm gonna continue to find a small group of people and give the game to them to see how they play. But I don't know when it will be open beta, let's say, where a bigger number of players will be able to access the game.
Okay, so the best thing is to follow you on Twitter, and you'll find out straight away, won't you?
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay, well, that covers all the questions I have.
Cool.
If there's anything you'd like to add, you're welcome to.
No, I was just really glad you invite me on the podcast. So it was fun.
My pleasure. It's been fantastic. And again, it's a brilliant game, even at this stage. So
thank you.
I mean, bug wise, I didn't find any, did I?
I see one or two on your screen, but you didn't. But I did see one or two.
Okay, well there you go. But that's impressive. That's very impressive.
Cool. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and keep an eye out for the game, everybody, and please go and wishlist it.
Yes, please.
Very important. Cool. Okay. Well, we'll do a follow-up podcast, and I'll catch you next time.
Okay.
Thank you. Right. So that is the end of the podcast. So thanks, man. That was really, really cool chat.
Yeah, it was. It was super fun. Thank you.
That was fascinating. It was still weird because I'm rewatching my gameplay on the screen. It's really confusing because I'm speaking and I'm not speaking because I can see my webcam still.
Oh yeah. I guess.
I'm thinking, oh my god, it's still daylight outside. Oh no, that was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
That's good.
Yeah, fascinating. That's gonna be really easy to edit that podcast. If the audio was well, then it's just gonna be a straight put out.
Yeah. Hopefully, Craig did a good job this time.
Please, Craig. Please don't let us down. Oh my god. Let me. I'm actually gonna stop the podcast recording now. We've done everything. Let me stop it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're still live on Twitch and everything. Please work. Craig's gone.
Okay.
He's left the room.
Bye, Craig.
Bye, Craig.
And let me just send you where. Okay. I will send you the link that I was talking of during the podcast. So that's a video of the 1 year development. Oh, the sound is super.
Amazing. While I'm here, I'm going to play it on Twitch. So if you're watching this on Twitch, you're getting a bonus. See, this is what you're getting.
That's good.
Oh God, look at that! The art's completely changed.
Yeah. At first, I use asset coming from Asset Store. Then I find some other, modify them, did some custom one for the game. So yeah, the game really changed a lot from the early prototype to.
Yeah, okay. It still looks great. It still looks great though. I mean, we're not talking about like wireframes and stickmen here, are we? It still looks lovely.
Yeah. I mean, there were some stuff I loved in the very first prototype, but that they weren't working because it was like too turn-based and too difficult to understand how to move and how to attack, and was just not working. But in the video, it's look cool.
July 2019. Look at that.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
It's really during summer that I kind of find the look a little more.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's keep evolving to what I have today. But yeah, it was a fun year of development.
Yeah, you've been very busy, haven't you?
Yes.
Oh, the bombs as well. They're a great idea, but they're a nightmare. They killed me.
Yeah, I mean they always kill you at first, but that's how you learn, you know.
Yeah.
You die and then you do it again.
But it's nice that the rooms do change so much.
I mean, what I'm trying to do is like every floor have a set of interactive objects, as I call them, so bomb and stuff like that. So you will always find the same one in the first floor, but then on the second floor there will be new type of interactive object. So you won't see the bomb anymore, but you will see
something else.
A boulder that you will be able to push and some
really?
platform. Yeah, I'm working on one stuff which is really cool right now. It's like the enemy will be able to spawn on a wooden platform, so they are above ground and they can shoot. They can shoot at range, and then you destroy the platform, and then they fall off the platform, and now you can kill them and attack them.
Wow, amazing!
That's kind of cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, let me subscribe to you as well. Subscribe and liked. There you go. That's a good one.
Thank you.
I'll share the.
Awesome.
I'll link the video as well. That'd be cool.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me stop the stream so we're not live on the internet anymore. So then you can slag everyone off. So let me just stop the stream.